my gosh. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Everybody can hear me? Yes, everybody can hear me. Glad that that's normal again for some reason. It's fine. The last few streams, that's always good. Anyway, hi, Christy. Hello again, the gays. What's up, Jimmy Nails and Paul Hack? Hello over in the YouTube chat. Also on the website chat, which is even better. Slabs Hungry Bears dropped by way earlier to say that they were going to be sleeping during the stream. No problems. Reminded me to make a big note on my piece of paper here to upload the VODs, you know? But yes, Decoy Duck bringing us in with the duck as per usual. Halfling Rogue, hello. Slabs Hungry Bears partner. Nice. Good to see you here. I saw that you joined the Discord as well. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. What's up, Raven? We got Mersh. Hello, Mersh. I saw your message. Thank you very much. Corpse Candy, Medjed. First time catching a live. That's very exciting. I mean, it could be more exciting because here's the thing. My voice is starting to get weird. My person has been sick for like a few days now, and I'm finally starting to get the soreness, you know? It's beginning. But hello. So hopefully it's not going to be too boring of a stream today. Quantum Cactus and Pashy. Hello, Juloris. I'm just going to take a break from serious stuff for a while, but if the title is true, what the fuck? Yeah, so the document is not available to review right now, but it'll be, you know, we'll get there. Anyway, Summerstar, hello. Raccoon Pope, hello. Athiet, hello. Light tickle in the back of the throat. I've had the same thing for the last couple days. It's really like a soreness, and like I can feel that it's swollen on the inside. Like it feels like I can't breathe as well as normal, just a little bit. And like a raw sensation. Hope it's nothing serious. Maybe take cough drops or something. Yeah. So I mean, my partner tested for COVID a few days ago and tested negative, and I am gonna probably test. I mean, if this gets more symptomatic tomorrow, I guess I'll take a test and see. But if he doesn't have, you know, the plague, then I probably just have one of whatever is going around. You know, it's like RSV is going around, and a couple of different strains of flu are going around. Sounds like RSV. Yeah, I'm hoping it's just RSV, because I don't really get sick like very badly. You know, if we both catch something, it's usually like he usually gets more ill than I do. So if he's only been like coughing and feeling kind of crummy for a few days, then it's probably not going to be too bad for me. But my throat is a little bit sore. But also, yes, hello, Lady Meow. How's it going? Diabologique, hello. Straight people, of course, you are welcome to join, provided you are emotionally damaged. True, Christy. Hey, Sandy, I just came across your channel today. Let's rock. Nice. I don't know how often that happens, where we have someone who is brand new coming in, but we usually spend the first like 30 to 60 minutes of stream just like kind of catching up and seeing how we're doing, talking about life in general. It's cozy time, and then we'll actually talk about the news a little bit. But on account of I want to like not overdo it with my voice today, I'm probably gonna keep this front segment a little bit toward the shorter end and get going on the news. I like at least one of the topics I do want to really like. I do want to at least address the title topic for sure. Paul Hack is asking if my soreness in my throat is where I had the surgery. No, it's down here. And the thing was like in the roof of the back of my mouth. Like, I don't know how to describe it. You know how your mouth is like like a thing like this, and this is like where your teeth are in the front, and this is like way in the back. It was like over here. And it hurts down here. I gotta change my display name to Captain Cougar. Boomer problems. Hello, Carlina. Welcome in to the YouTube chat. If you're on the YouTube chat and you are, if you're in the YouTube chat and you're on a desktop computer or a laptop or something, you should click the top link in the description and come over to the website, because this chat over here, this is luxander.net. This is the cool chat. We have cool emojis. It's a good thing. Be careful with RSV. I've had friends who work at the hospital and they have several people on ventilators with it. Yes. I read ahead to Quantum Cactus's remark while I was in the middle of reading what Mersh said. I've heard that RSV can be quite serious. I'm just saying, generally speaking, when viruses are going around, I don't get as sick, but I'm going to make sure that I don't overdo it or anything. Hello, Hellhound. Cool chat, cool chat. Yes. Lux chat for the win. Gotta surf through the web portal. Normally I would be getting to bed right now, but I just had an eye exam. I'm waiting on my ride and saw that you were coming on. Well, good that you're hanging out. We do the chat on Sundays a little earlier in the day because I know a lot of our European friends are going to sleep and stuff right now. We've got dicks and cool dragon emojis. True. Dicks for days. Oh man, I am one of those people. Have you ever seen people on Twitter saying like, if your friend has BoJack Horseman as one of their comfort shows, and they start binge watching it again, you should check on that friend. Like, I am watching BoJack Horseman again. I'm not really, I don't think I'm depressed though, at least as far as I can tell. I'm definitely stressed, but not depressed. But we are enjoying BoJack Horseman once again. I don't know if any of you know this, but I actually have a script that I haven't worked on in a long time that is about how BoJack Horseman has borderline personality disorder. And it's been a while since I worked on it because I find writing really difficult. But I think now that I'm watching the show, I'm going to be thinking about it again. And then I'm reflecting on it and I'm like, does BoJack have BPD or does BoJack have NPD? Because I've learned more about NPD in the last year or so, like since I was working on that script. I binge watch X-Files. That's my comfort binge. BoJack personality disorder. True. Yeah, I can already tell that this is going to be rough on my voice, so we might have to get into it before too terribly long and just try to work through it, you know? Try to work through the content. Hail hydrate. Oh my goodness. Let the lemon water soothe us through it. Yes. Hail hydrate. Okay. So the first thing that I wanted to look at was actually a positive thing. Like, we're just going to go ahead and roll into it pretty early today, folks. We're going to get into it. I want to do a little bit of a spotlight on a thread that I saw on Twitter that was someone else spotlighting gay trans men in a historical context. So I saw this thread here on Twitter that was a person tweeting about gay trans men, like FTM trans men who are attracted to men, and the fact that there isn't very much representation of gay trans men overall, and especially in the historical context. And this doesn't go back very far historically, but I think it is still cool to look at and see, like, this is a very specific niche intersection. It's not just historical trans men, like I know of several, but very specifically homosexual trans men, you know, leading up to the present day, and like what presence they have had in our community and what influence they've had in the community and stuff. So wanted to take a look at this and share it with you all because I think that this stuff is very valuable. It makes me feel good about my history. Hit like on the video if you're ready to get going. One of the hard things about being a gay trans man is feeling like I lack history. Like, there's no precedent for men like me within broader gay history. So here's some gay trans mask history, a thread with pictures. Just want to note before continuing that it's hard to say how many of these people would have identified how they would have specifically called themselves, because the language that we currently use doesn't exist back then, right? But if we were to consider the term gay or MLM or queer and also trans mask to be umbrella terms, these people would probably fit somewhere broadly underneath those umbrellas. So, you know, whether they would have specifically identified as trans mask or whether they would have identified as trans men or non-binary or whatever, We're just going to broadly say that these people are like assigned female and wanted to live as men, right? Yeah, people just considering themselves real jolly chaps. True. So first up, we have Jack B. Garland, who was born in 1869 and died in 1936. Also known as Babe Bean, Jack was a soldier, a nurse, and an author. He was assigned female at birth, but lived as a man and had relationships with other young men in San Francisco. That is a very strapping young gent. And I guess this is like an article. My Life as a Soldier by Miss Babe Bean. Okay. That's one that I hadn't heard of before this article, or before this thread. Could not find the word for that. Lou Sullivan. I have heard of Lou Sullivan multiple times before. Born in 1951, died in 1991. Lou was a trans writer and activist who found refuge in his local gay scene, leather bars, kink clubs, and activist groups. You can read selected entries from the diaries he kept throughout his life, which is titled, "We Both Laughed in Pleasure." Some photos of Lou. That looks like a very young Lou. This is older. He had top surgery. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, not bad as far as results go. I will say. Like, his chest looks pretty good. Lou fought for years to be allowed access to HRT and gender-affirming surgery as a gay man, because at the time when trans people were transitioning, they were only allowed to transition if they were going to lead heterosexual lives. Like, if they were going to be, like, he would be like, they were going to be like, you have to be a straight man. And he's like, but I'm not attracted to women. I am a gay man. He did get there eventually. Yeah, this same photo. Underwent top surgery in 1980. Lou sharing the photos of the results with other FTMs. FTM is the term that was just normal at the time. I'm just saying it's fallen out of fashion. I'm just acknowledging it. For Lou, one of life's greatest pleasures was feeling the sun on his smooth masculine chest. Here he is picnicking with friends at Golden Gate Park in 1981, which is just spectacular. I feel like that is like something that people can read through to the present, you know, that people, even today, it's one thing that we often think about is we want to go swimming. We want to go have our bare chests out in the sun. Obviously, I've talked about how I don't really want top surgery, but that's my prerogative. I'm not super keen on being topless around people. I don't think I would be especially keen on it if I was post-top surgery either, but that's, again, just me. Moving on. Oh yeah, so now trigger warning for the AIDS crisis and death, because Lou Sullivan died from AIDS-related complications. One thing I will never forget is this quote from Lou. While dying from AIDS complications, he said, "I took a certain pleasure that even though their program told me I could not live as a gay man, it looks like I'm going to die like one." I think that Lou may have also been like the first American trans man to have phalloplasty, but I may be misremembering that. He's definitely not the first person to have ever gotten phalloplasty. Like, not the phalloplasties were being performed on cis men first. But yeah, anyway. This is great. I love this one. The 1994 FTM Trans Pride at a San Francisco Pride March. Like, FTM Trans Pride representing at a broader Pride March. Look at this. Look at these. Like, it's just, I love how the same it is. I mean, maybe it's just because we're making a little bit of a 90s fashion resurgence right now, but I appreciate that, like, these, especially these two, like this person points out, look at that T for T couple. They remind me of some people and like how people I currently know dress, like some non-binary trans masks that I know, which I appreciate. And like, I love this dude and how ripped he is. I love his top surgery scars. Those are cool. I love his tattoo. Very neat. Yeah. And I love that, like, I love that this historically shows that there's also a through line of like disabled people being present at these things. And like, I mean, it doesn't look like this person is injured specifically. Like, they don't have a boot on. So it seems to me like they might be disabled. And I just appreciate that too, because just reveals like how intersectionality kind of is timeless, I guess. Like, I don't know how to describe how I feel about that exactly. But yeah, what is the styling on the M? I don't know. That is a good question. I'm not familiar. But here's a second picture from a different angle of that same group walking around. We love. We love. I minimized the chat by accident. I think it's just from the stencil on the M. Maybe. I guess yeah, that could be the case. There are stencil things. I don't know. From a 1998 edition of FTM International magazine. Shout out to this person who I follow for sharing these. This is from... Oh, it's also from TikTok. The FTM couples group meets occasionally in the San Francisco Bay Area. Contact Joel at this number or Michiko at this number for information. Next meeting takes place June 21. This is like a picture of a bunch of these people in this FTM couples group. Very cool. Angel and Buck Davis star in Alley of the Tranny Boys, a new porn video by C. Lee at the Roxy. Is this where Buck Angel got his name from? Like, Angel is one person and Buck Davis is the other person. So, like, did Buck Angel make his name off of this? Holy shit, there's 50, 60 people in here right now. Can you hit like on the video? That would be really cool. I'm just like, oh, I'm very surprised and not high energy today, so I apologize for that. But yeah, we are going to get to talking about the UK says no to trans kids getting haircuts thing in a second. Okay, for now, we're just looking at this thing and feeling heartwarming historical feelings. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's an infamous anti-Italian M. It refers to the severing of the Marios. Really? Are you trolling me, Nouvenal? Or is that a real thing? I'm too trusting. Noah says, it was pointed out to me today that if I got a chest reduction, my areolas would still look, quote, too big to be masculine if I wanted to go shirtless at the beach or something like that. And that was an oof. They usually reshape your nips, do they not? When you get surgery for making the boobie smaller? That's what I thought, but maybe I am wrong. Anyway, getting some trans joy vibes before diving into the rough stuff is nice. Yeah, this is important to me. We got to take the time. We got to take the time to not be feeling shitty constantly. Really. All right. Running from 2009 to 2019. Oh, it only stopped 3 years ago. I thought Original Plumbing was way older than that. But it's a magazine focusing on the culture and lifestyle of trans men. You can buy Best of OP collections to see more of our history. It was founded by a queer trans man, Amos Mack. I mean, this was pretty recent, I guess. Yeah, so I guess the rest of this thread is going to be fairly modern. In 2011, the German film Romeos was released. To my knowledge, this remains the only feature-length film about a gay trans man. Note, however, that the trans male character is played by a cis male actor. In 2021, the wonderful Gottmik became the first trans man to compete on Drag Race. I just want to say this one was really cool. It's really freaky and Hellraiser-y, but really cool. And this one is very cool too. Also in 2021, Chio Gomes becomes the first trans finalist for the Mr. Gay England competition after making a historic bid for entry. Mr. Gay England competition is not something I'm familiar with, but... Aw, look at that smile. That's a great smile. And just to close off, here's this gorgeous couple. This photo was one of the first examples of T for T love that I saw. It was part of To Survive on This Shore, which was an exhibition by Jess T. Dugan. I think that I saw this whole series when it came out. It was a whole bunch of elderly trans people. Like, that was the point of the exhibition. So, yeah. We love T for T bears. Very cute. True. Yeah. Theodore ends saying, we have always been here. We always will be. Yeah, it is a very sweet pic. So I just wanted to share some heartwarming vibes for the beginning of the stream here. That seems like a good way to start off before we segue into talking about the NHS. Like, because that's the next topic on the docket, is the NHS. New subby, love your content. Thank you, Dark Canuck. I appreciate you. There's a couple people in here who are new tonight. Thank you for hanging out. We do our best to try to balance all of the toxicity in the world with some positivity sometimes. I don't always do a very good job, personally, of introducing enough positive or silly or lighthearted elements. So, you know, sometimes you just gotta take a moment. I saw that Twitter thread earlier and I just want to say it's so lovely. Yes, it's so good. Paul Hack wants to know, what is a bear? I swear we're going to start talking about the UK in a second, okay? A bear is a gay man who is, I mean, it's a body type. It's like if you're kind of chubby and big and covered in hair everywhere and you're a gay man, that mean you a bear. There's like different words for different subtypes of bodies and physiques, you know? I'm suddenly reminded of that It's Always Sunny's bit. Like, I love that bit from It's Always Sunny. You're right, Decoy Duck. But it's also like, it goes so fast. You really have to keep up and maybe watch it a couple times and really pay attention, because like it's hard to catch everything that they're saying. I mean, even if you're familiar with the topic, you're like, oh my God. But yes, a bear is a big fuzzy boy, as says Steven. Hello, Curse. A bear is like a twink, but the opposite. Like that, it requires you to know what a twink is. Oh my God. All right. If you're ready to talk about the NHS and their murderous anti-trans policies and guidelines, hit like on the video. Just hit like on the stream for me real quick. It's free for you. It has an immediate benefit for the channel, and we'll be able to get into it. Your speed has something to do with it. A twink is a boy waif. It's true. I'm ready to put my hair up. We're about to get serious. You can tell it's about to get serious when I put up my hair. There are still like almost 20 more viewers than there are likes on the stream. Come on. We gotta pump up those numbers. Numbers go brrr. Come on, give my brain some dopamine. Make me happy. My cousin is into otters. It might be a Canadian thing. Oh, maybe. It's like, I guess technically I'm down with otters, you know? I don't really think about it very much. The no horsing around ponytail. Yeah, I need to figure out a better way to put up my hair, but it's fine. Like, it's just kind of annoying. Aren't they called beavers in Canada? Beavers and otters are two different animals, are they not? Clicking like burns calories. I guess that's true. Unrelated, just wanted to share and celebrate that I'm going to give growing my hair another try since I'm on T now. Hey, that's awesome, Eddie. Like, I gotta say, I personally like having long hair, and I didn't enjoy it when I felt like I wasn't allowed to have long hair because of my gender and being misgendered. So yeah, rock that long hair. Long hair on men is hot. All right. Are you ready? We're gonna get going. Beavers are usually not associated with gay men. That's also true. They can be, as we just demonstrated. There are a lot of trans gay men out there, so beavers can be associated with gay men, just not often. Oh, goodness gracious. Luxurious locks. True. Okay, let's stop fucking around and get to the news. So the NHS has been really restricting access to trans healthcare for a while. Like, if you haven't already, I really highly recommend watching Abigail's new video over on Philosophy Tube about the NHS and the systemic failures of bureaucracy that lead to extremely long wait lists and stuff. Yeah, NHS for no healthcare service. True. Like, for example, like the main problem with the NHS and the way that they handle transgender healthcare is that they have the right to receive care within 18 weeks of receiving a referral. So if you go to the doctor and you need specialist care, like you need to go to a dermatologist or something because you have cystic acne or whatever, you go to your general practitioner and then they refer you to dermatology, and you have the legal right to be seen at the dermatologist office within 18 weeks. You're also supposed to have the right to receive an appointment at a gender clinic within that 18 weeks. Like from the time that you go to your GP and they refer you, you're supposed to be seen within 18 weeks at the gender clinic. But the wait lists for a first appointment, a very, very first appointment, is incredibly long. Years and years, like years, literally. People wait just to get seen for a first appointment. So if you want to see more in depth about that, I highly recommend checking out that video again. But we're going to be looking at some very specific new potential changes to the way the NHS addresses trans healthcare for young people. Because currently the situation, frankly, in the UK is, for young people, pretty much like an unending nightmare. Because if you like realize you're trans at age 15, let's say, like some people, then you might get referred to the gender clinic from your GP. And let's just assume that they sent the letter for referring you on the first try, like they're legally supposed to, instead of making you wait arbitrarily. You will then be put on a wait list for the children. Now, let's just be realistic. Like the wait lists at the Tavistock were like 3 years, I believe was what I've most recently read. And consequently, you age off of the wait list. Like you as a 15-year-old were hoping, well, maybe I can get puberty blockers to prevent my body from changing even more than it already has. Like maybe you're like developing breasts and you realize like, oh, my breasts currently are still small enough to get like the type of surgery that has really minimal scarring. And if they continue to grow, then I won't have that opportunity anymore. And it'll be even more expensive sometimes. Like, you know, you'd like to be able to put a pause on those things, right? But then you age off of the children's list because you turned 18, and then you have to get on the adult waiting list, which is like they will just straight up say it's like 5 years long, essentially. There's like 5,000 people on the wait list right now, and they're only seeing like 50 people in a given month. Like there are thousands of people waiting, and they're only seeing 50 individuals, only 50 first-time patient visits in 1 month. That's the most recent information as of 2022. So that's the current situation for trans youth. Realistically, they've just bureaucratically ground things to a halt in such a way that it's simply inaccessible to trans youth through the NHS, the public health system, which is the tax-funded system that's free to access. Instead, what people have to do and what young people have to do is they either go private, which means that like they do have private healthcare similar to how we do in the US over there, where it's like there is no government controlling the system. It's just like some person set up a hospital or whatever. So there are private clinics which provide this kind of care, and you know, they have hundreds of patients there. It's just more, it's like expensive. In the UK, you don't really spend money on healthcare. It's not something you budget for. So if you're already, you know, very slim paycheck to paycheck kind of monetary situation, you are not going to have the opportunity to go private. There's also the option of doing DIY, like the gray market, or I guess in some cases the black market for hormones. Estrogen, as I understand it, is legal to acquire just on the internet and bring into the UK, as far as I understand. Puberty blockers, I'm not sure about the legality of that. So one of the main things that seems to be changing, like, I got a little bit ahead of myself here. All of this to say that there has been recent guidance, which is going to change the way that it's already being done. Like the way that it's currently being done is they've just bureaucratically slowed things down to where it's basically impossible for young people to access puberty blockers or hormones. They're now implementing changes. So what are those changes? Well, it's kind of hard to say right this second because back in October, they posted the guidelines. They had drafted new guidelines for treating transgender youth. And then they were going to have a period of open public commentary, and they took it down. Let's see. The service has said previously that it would soon share its preliminary guidelines with the public to allow for feedback and revision. It says the changes are necessary to provide timely care for young people who seek medical help while ensuring that the system is robust and the treatments are safe. So it's actually kind of weird. The draft prepared by NHS England, seen by Reuters, stressed that there is now an urgent need to finalize the guidelines and help set up new services for trans youth, quote, as quickly as possible. It was briefly uploaded to the NHS England website at the end of September with plans for a 45-day public comment period, but it was later removed. An NHS spokesperson declined to say why or when a finalized and fuller version will be made public. But it was available briefly, and we may be able to basically, just based on comments that other people have made about it, we might be able to kind of determine what some of those initial recommendations or guidelines may be. And Reuters, I believe, did see this document. So I believe this is supposed to be like the most accurate that we can get about what is in it. And like I was saying about let's see. In England, a years-long wait for gender care has led some young people to seek medications through unregulated online pharmacies or privately. Privately is regulated, like unregulated online pharmacies. It's not illegal to buy estrogen that way. I'm not sure about puberty blockers, but privately is considered regulated in this country. These include therapies that block the onset of puberty or hormone treatments for older people, which are used to help transgender adolescents develop secondary sex characteristics aligned with their gender identity. Gender GP, for example, a private provider of treatments for trans patients, told Reuters that it has prescribed medications such as those to hundreds of youth. The draft guideline says that if NHS professionals decide a patient should not be taking puberty blockers or hormone treatments obtained privately, they can advise the patient's primary care doctor to initiate, quote, safeguarding protocols. This is the tricky thing. So, like, if a NHS professional decides that something that you obtained privately through the regulated private medical care system, they can advise the patient's primary care doctor to initiate, quote, safeguarding protocols. The draft does not spell out why safeguarding measures would be taken or what that would entail per se, but under NHS protocols, safeguarding teams are made up of representatives of the police, medical, and social services professionals who are responsible for ensuring a child's safety and well-being. So this is like, to be completely clear, I want to be fully and completely clear. That is the government is going to take your children away from you situation. Like if the NHS official position is that you shouldn't be taking puberty blockers, which are just to buy you time. That's all puberty blockers do. Again, puberty blockers are the compromise position. That's the compromise position, and they're rejecting it. They're spitting in our face, as usual. If the government, NHS, decides that you shouldn't be on hormone blockers, then they're going to initiate a process that includes representatives from police and medical and social services professionals, like safeguarding teams, ensuring a child's safety and well-being, which means that you are going to basically initiate an investigation, basically a criminal investigation. If this is, it's the same kind of bullshit that we're seeing in Florida and in Texas here in America, where they're just pretending as though the legislative process doesn't exist. Like, they're just finding ways to circumnavigate the people's vote or the representatives doing their jobs in representing their constituents as they can. Like, if their constituents are saying, hey, these are our children and they deserve medical care, and you're using some like board of medicine, this doesn't count as medical care, fucking loophole bullshit. Like, you're just spitting right in the face of democracy. It's pretty straightforward in my opinion. Yeah, trans people functionally don't have NHS healthcare as adults now for new patients either. Yeah. I mean, it's a bureaucratic, like, grinding of the gears to a halt for sure. Let's move back to this. So, yeah. And of course, the NHS has previously said that it strongly discouraged people from sourcing gender-affirming medications online from providers that are not regulated within the UK. Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, yeah. How about you fucking fix your system? Of course, people shouldn't take unregulated medication, but what else are they going to do? I mean, I just don't know what else you expect. Let's see. Any new guy? A spokesperson from Gendered Intelligence, a trans-led charity, says that any new guidelines must avoid a rehash of the current system, which has, quote, so many administrative barriers and capacity issues that it has become unsustainable. It's crucial that the new services focus on facilitating access to treatment and support rather than leaving young people and their families in limbo. Yeah, but that's not what they're going to do. Other changes in the draft guidelines include allowing only NHS professionals to refer youth for gender care. I thought that was already the case. I thought that you already had to go to your local NHS. Oh, no. So this is saying that private healthcare can't be provided for trans care. Only NHS professionals can refer youth for gender care. That means that private providers would be made illegal, basically. At least, like, Gender GP, for example, one that was named earlier, is one that is specifically, as far as I can tell, it's called Gender GP. I imagine the clinic exists for the purpose of providing this care. That clinic would be effectively shut down by these guidelines. I didn't make that connection before now. Oh my gosh. So where was I? It would propose teams with wider professional expertise within the clinics. Who else do you think you need to... This makes me think that they're going to bring in psychotherapists and conversion therapy bullshit with wider professional expertise. Like, what do you mean? You should just have endocrinologists. Like, what else do you need? Requiring meetings between referring staff and a clinic to establish if gender clinics are the best route for treatment. I mean, that would be great, I guess, if it weren't for the fact that the communications between the referring staff and the clinic were already not, like, really slow and kind of horked out. Horked out is a fun phrase for me to say. I'm going to take a drink. Boy. Yeah, it's brilliant. Privatizing the NHS, but specifically keeping it around and then forcing trans people to use the underfunded system, for sure. This says that the current wait time to see gender care professionals is now about 3 years, with like 5,000 patients in the most recent financial year. Gender-affirming care can include social transitioning, which recognizes a child's preferred name, pronouns, and mode of dress. Okay, so this is the Reuters article. Again, as far as I know, this is from October 14th. They actually may have seen the document. So I'm going to move to the Daily Mail now. I realize the Daily Mail is, I mean, it's broadly understood to be like transphobic, right? I mean, I'm not making that up there. So I'm okay with looking at this biased source and like acknowledging that it's biased here. Gender GP does adults as well as kids. They are an online service covering several countries. Okay, I see, Numpty. Thank you. So Gender GP could be providing this care to adults and continue to stay in business. That makes sense. So let's look at this. From the Daily Mail, doctors will no longer encourage gender-curious children to use preferred pronouns or dress as opposite sex under NHS guidelines. This came out 21st of October. The other one came out 14th of October. NHS considers risks of social transition in youth questioning their gender identity. Social transition including the name, pronouns, and cross-dressing. New guidelines say it can have significant effects on a child's study. They also say most children will not commit to gender changes in their teens. So here we go. Doctors are no longer supposed to encourage gender-curious children to use the pronouns of their preferred identity. NHS draft guidelines will also discourage the act of children dressing in clothes of the opposite sex. Health chiefs say social transitioning should no longer be viewed as a, quote, neutral act due to the significant effects it may have on a child's psychology. Ooh, scary. Social transitioning referring to being treated as the gender of your identity, whatever, but without the medical interventions like puberty blockers or hormones. So people changing their name, their pronouns, and the way they dress. Family, friends, and school are generally encouraged to be supportive of this process. This says at the extreme end of the scale, social transitioning can see people controversially using the bathrooms or changing facilities of their believed gender identity. Again, I'm just recognizing this very biased source. So, like, this is a transphobic source, so I'm saying it's not as though pro-trans activists are being like, like making up bullshit to make you look bad. You know, this is your own transphobic editorial thing saying like, this is what the NHS has decided to try to do. Let's say, where are we? The NHS England's draft approach calls on clinicians to recognize most cases of, quote, gender incongruence in children are just a phase. Wow. I wonder if it literally says just a phase in the documentation. I hope so. That would be really funny. The clinical approach in regard to The clinical approach with regard to prepubertal children will reflect evidence that in most cases, gender incongruence does not persist into adolescence, it reads. Why would it be bad to let it be a phase? Like, why would you discourage children from dressing how they want if you think it's a phase? Like, what do you think is going to help? Like, how is that going to help? Therefore, it says encouraging social transition for prepubescent children should be carefully considered due to the mental health risks posed to the child when they reach their teenage years. Just kind of broadly evoking mental health risks without specifying, like, the mental health risk of continuing to be trans, like, because they consider that a mental illness. Is that basically, yeah, it's just a phase. Show me a permanent state of being. There is no such thing. The clinical approach has to be mindful of the risks of an inappropriate gender transition and the difficulties that the child may experience in returning to the original gender role upon entering puberty if the gender incongruence does not persist into adolescence. I mean, like, again, just worrying more about the potential detrans people, like the pretend detrans people who don't actually detrans. They really just go back to, like, growing out their beards and calling themselves Kieran Bell. Hey, Guitar Rocker, how you doing? How's it going? My voice is a little bit rough today, so I'm trying to take it easy. So this says even for older children, those already in their adolescence, social transitioning should only be considered a last resort in severe cases. Like, that's... like, a last resort in severe cases is how we treat surgery. Like, surgery should be a last resort in extreme cases for children, you know? Like, ideally, you know, you don't want that to happen until they're 18, I guess, in an ideal world. Like, it's in extreme mental health cases that it gets done below the age of 18. But you're putting social transition on the same bar of, like, should be considered a last resort. Like, can we just acknowledge once again that that is explicitly genocidal? If you're like, we need to do everything we can to make sure that there are as few trans people, like, if like letting someone be trans and be happy is the last resort in severe cases, then you explicitly are like, you are applying genocidal pressures to trans people. Like, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how you can explain it in any other manner. Like, what else would you call that? This is why the fucking trans genocide debate is so irritating. Is like, how could you, like, in what other context would trying to force people just to not be? I don't know, man. It's so fucking irritating. Yeah, social transition should only be considered where the approach is necessary for the alleviation of or prevention of clinically significant distress or can you fucking stop? Or significant impairment in social functioning, and the young person is able to fully comprehend the implications of affirming a social transition. What implications? This is why they had to withdraw it, because it probably did not pass peer review for 10 seconds. Yeah, transition does not need to be a last resort. I don't understand why. These guidelines have no effect in Scotland. Thank fucking Christ. At GenSpect, we believe that children should be free to wear whatever clothes they want, boys should be free to run around waving fairy wands and in princess dresses, and girls should be free to act however they wish. Yet we don't think changing pronouns helps anyone. It creates more problems than it resolves. That's so untrue, even. This person is, I guess, speaking partially in support of and partially in opposition to this guideline, because the guideline is against boys running around in princess dresses. Very explicitly, it is against that. The NHS England draft guidelines are part of the Health Services plan to close the highly controversial Gender Identity Development Service at the Tavistock Clinic, which is the country's only gender identity service for children. It's scheduled to shut its doors in the spring after a review ruled that the service was unsafe. It found that other mental health issues were, quote, overshadowed in favor of gender identity treatment, prompting accusations that staff rushed children onto powerful drugs. I thought they were going to be opening other clinics instead of Tavistock, but maybe I was wrong about that. GenSpect is an anti-trans lobby group that promotes conversion therapy. Yeah. I'm not terribly surprised to know that there is just a popular conversion therapy organization being quoted by the Daily Mail. Let's see. Other sections of the draft, detailed that puberty blockers should only be provided via NHS research programs. Oh, so not even just only provided by the NHS. Not only make it so that private providers can't provide puberty blockers to teenagers, but that even if they get them through the NHS, it can only be through participation in a study. And medics should consider safeguarding processes if the children obtain such drugs online. I don't know if there's anything else in here. I'm just kind of reading really quickly to see if there's anything else we need to focus in on here. Dr. Cass, this is the Cass report, has called for rapid research on the use of the drugs after she found, quote, insufficient evidence on their benefits. So I guess at least if you're a teenager, you might be able to sign up for one of these studies and hope that you're not one of the placebo targets, I guess. Yes, that's the end of the article. So I haven't seen very many people talking about this, and it's likely because the guidelines were not public for very long. The guidelines were only available for a short time for the public to review, and then they were taken back down to be revised, I guess, which I guess reset that 45-day public comment period. I think that they would have been fairly lambasted if they had gone with this language as their official guidance. They're going to open local services. What that will look like depends on what happens with this current battle. Right, because there is a lawsuit happening, is there not? Where there are some trans people who are suing the government for the fact that it's delaying care so much. I was looking at this earlier today. NHS England waiting times for gender dysphoria patients are unlawful. So this might also be part of why the guidance was taken down because there are current not legislative. There are current God, I can't talk today. There are judicial processes in place, and they're being heard right now about the 18-week target we discussed early in the stream. Like, it is the right of an English citizen to receive healthcare within 18 weeks of a referral, and they are just far and away breaking that. It's a law. It's the right that they possess. It's not a guideline. It's not a suggestion. That's the law, and they're just not following it. So there's these lawsuits happening where trans claimants want the high court to point out that they're breaking the law and start, like, presumably fixing the problem. Like, NHS England, which commissions the services for people with gender dysphoria, denies acting unlawfully. Yeah, of course. So this is ongoing, and I imagine that we will continue to see more developments. It may be a slow process. I don't know how courts work over there in the UK, but over here it's a very slow and difficult, annoying process, especially if you are suing the government and trying to get them to acknowledge they've done something wrong. But they have done in the past. Again, I really highly recommend that you go watch Philosophy Tube's most recent video as of this stream about the NHS and get into it, because Abigail points out that, you know, the NHS has fucked up before, and it in a way that has resulted in similar death and families being hurt and stuff. Similar situation as what's happening now, when trans people who have been waiting for 3 years, like, for a first appointment and can't afford medical care, like can't afford it privately, end up killing themselves. So people have died by this negligent practice. They've done this before with a hospital policy that preferred natural births over cesareans. So a bunch of babies died from forced vaginal births, and a bunch of mothers died as well. And they ended up coming around and saying, yeah, we fucked up on that. And they're paying recompense and, like, paying the families, like, restitutions, right? So they're clearly able to reconcile with this. And we'd like to see them do that now. Like, some public apologies and some changing policy. But it just seems like increasingly the transphobia is pervasive throughout the system, and a lot of bureaucratic mechanisms can gum up the system, and it really only takes like a handful of people just kind of refusing to do their jobs to increase the wait time that it requires for everybody to get their jobs done. But certainly there are issues with funding, and again, as Abigail points out, it's probably difficult to get people who are interested in asking the kinds of invasive questions that you must ask trans people in order to confirm their gender dysphoria diagnosis. It's a lot of very invasive questions about your sex life and your genitals and stuff. And I'm pretty sure that teenagers also have to be asked all those questions in order to receive their gender dysphoria diagnosis. So I could understand it being difficult to find people who want to do that. It seems pretty awkward as a job. So yeah, I haven't seen very many people talking about this, and I'm going to be interested to see if there's more developments, because I mean, it's I don't know what people are going to do if they make it to where even socially transitioning could prompt an investigation of potential wrongdoing, that medically your doctor is not allowed to recommend social transition because of the potential risks to mental health, which again, I think just means like they consider us as trans people to be like mentally ill and just incapable of being normal. So that's great. Yes, Katie Montgomery has been talking about it. The WPATH statement on those NHS draft guidelines. Yeah, let's check out the WPATH response. Just as a reminder, the WPATH is World Professional Association for Transgender Health. We've talked about them before on this channel. So I don't think we're going to read all... Wait, hold on. Is it just the top one? Yeah, it's just this top one. Okay, great. So the document fails to state that gender diversity is a normal and healthy aspect of human diversity, that many trans people experience gender incongruence from child or adolescence. Trans and gender diverse people have a human right to access the highest achievable standard of care, including gender affirming care, according to the World Health Organization. We're concerned that rather than emphasizing the importance of equitable access to medically necessary support and treatment for children, adolescents, and young adults experiencing gender incongruence, the service specification appears designed to place unnecessary barriers in their way. Additionally, we state that when gender-affirming medical treatment is provided with a standardized multidisciplinary assessment and treatment process, thorough informed consent, and ongoing monitoring and psychosocial support, the rate of regret of gender-affirming medical treatment commenced in adolescence has been observed to be very low, and the benefits of treatment in adolescence are potentially greater than the benefits of gender-affirming treatment commenced in adulthood. Duh. Hence, the harms associated with obstructing or delaying access to wished-for and indicated treatment for the majority appear greater than the risks of regret for the few when trans and cis people are correctly regarded as equal. Like, that was a lot of big words, but TLDR, like, it is medically recommended by all reported sources at this time that, you know, starting care for trans kids when they are teens is more effective than starting transition as adults, and can lead to like better outcomes as far as their ability to maintain a job and maintain housing and shit like that. But of course, you don't want to make it easy. Anyway, the documentation makes assumptions about trans children and adolescents which are outdated and untrue, which then form the basis of harmful interventions. Amongst these is the supposition that gender incongruence is transient in prepubertal children. This document quotes selectively and ignores newer evidence about the persistence of gender incongruence in children. Many older studies regarding the stability of gender identity enlisted children who did not have gender incongruence or dysphoria, but rather had culturally nonconforming gender expression. So older studies about growing out of it, quote unquote, were not of children who had expressed gender dysphoria or incongruence, but simply had been dressing in a gender nonconforming manner. Like a tomboy phase, you could say. The findings of these older studies should only carefully be applied to children and young people who are presenting to gender identity clinics seeking gender-affirming treatment. It may be a different population. The document also makes unsupported statements about the influence of family, social, and mental health factors on the formation of gender identity. WPATH and all these organizations believe that children and young people can have agency and express their gender identity, and that the best course of action is to work collaboratively with the child or young person and family to support the trans or gender diverse person. That's pretty scathing. They're just, oh, then they also responded to the New York Times article. Wow, we're not going to get into that right now because I should have looked at that already, I think. But yeah, I appreciate that kind of like summed up response. There was a larger response that we could have read way more information and gone really far into what the WPATH laid out. But broadly speaking, yeah, scathing. The NHS is terrible at providing care to trans kids. They really are trying to make it impossible to access basic medical care. And it remains to be seen whether they will succeed, because it seems like their government, much like ours, is just going to continue sliding further and further and further and further and further and further and further into conservative hell. Good grief. I gotta drink some water. I'm on freaking hormones for menopause. Yeah, Dark Canuck, it's much easier to just get it when you're cis, right? Like, oh, what's up, Mosshound? Just joined the stream. Hello. I think Abigail was really onto something when she was saying that gender dysphoria is like a fake bullshit diagnosis. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a double standard that trans people get diagnosed with gender dysphoria. I think the concept of gender dysphoria is, I think, just something that applies to cis people as well, and that people don't want to, like, people get hung up on that. Like I think that if a cisgender woman has polycystic ovarian syndrome and slightly elevated testosterone levels because of that, and she develops a little bit of a mustache, and she feels bad about that, and she goes to the doctor and gets testosterone suppressants and gets laser hair removal to get the hair off of her lip. Like, that is gender affirming care. She has gender dysphoria. I just think, like, either she gets to go get her care from her GP, and so does a trans woman who wants to suppress her testosterone, or they both require a gender dysphoria diagnosis and to go through this separate process of gender affirmative care as they've separated it out in England. Like, you can't, it's like the double standard is the real significant legal problem. I've always thought gender dysphoria is an adequate description of a feeling, but a hopeless thing to be trying to diagnose. I don't... Oh, what's up, Mignon? Welcome to the website. Yeah, I don't know what you would... like, I don't know how you're really supposed to... Like, even when I was diagnosed with gender identity disorder, because that's what it still was at the time, it was still basically just like, okay, if I give you this medicine... I mean, I went the informed consent route, so it was like, if I give you this medicine, these are the things that are going to happen to you. Do you understand? I'm like, yes, I want those things to happen to me, so thank you. Please give me the medicine. And she was like, cool. That was pretty much it. Is fertility treatment gender affirming? I mean, yeah, I guess in some ways you could consider it gender affirming care. I'm sure for some people, there are probably men who feel like they're less of a man if they find out they're shooting blanks. And there are probably women who are like, I'm failing as a woman to provide children for my husband or whatever. I mean, that's a very Game of Thronesian kind of sentiment, but hey, kitty cat. I'm going to leave him alone. I don't want to fuck with him right now. I was able to get HRT via informed consent and never got diagnosed with anything. Well, you would need to be diagnosed with anything if you were to get insurance involved. So I think that I didn't really require a diagnosis because I didn't have insurance at the time, but I actually was diagnosed after after the DSM had officially changed from gender identity disorder over to gender dysphoria as the official diagnosis. However, I was still diagnosed with gender identity disorder because it was so soon afterwards. I believe that insurance companies were still billing it as... Like, that was the way that you covered it. Like, in their systems, it still said gender identity disorder. So that's why, like, that my official diagnosis still was that, even though it was no longer in the DSM at the time. Good grief. My doctor just asked me what I wanted and then said, good news, HRT will do that. Let's talk about what else it does. I was originally diagnosed with PCOS. However, chromosomal testing uncovered that I'm a chimera intersex with XY and XX chromosomes. When I did not want to treat my PCOS to get rid of masculinization, the doctor actually got angry with me. Her transphobia extended even to intersex when I did not want to alter myself. I realized the camera's off. I'm aware. It's coming back. I can hear it. Hello? Hello. Thank you. Is me having a job as a man gender affirming care? I feel the need to be a provider in order to feel manly. Can my doctor give me a prescription for a well-paying career? True. I mean, true. Like, if it's gender affirming care for you to be a housewife, then do you think that people who want to be housewives should have universal basic income so that they can have the gender affirming care of being a housewife? What if you want to be a tradcath, you know? Hey, baby. Hello. Are you a kitty? Do you want to come here? I know you don't. Oh my god, excuse me. Hey, come here. Hello. The void wants chicken. I actually don't know if he wants chicken. I doubt it. But we're saying hello. Hi, baby. Are you big happy boy? Hmm? Yeah? He's like, please put me down. No. No. Ooh, what a baby. Okay, we'll put him back. Oh, gosh. By the way, everybody, thank you for all of you who have hit like today. It's a huge number of you, and thank you. If you are in the position to do so, consider shooting me like $5 dono, because I'm about to move and have to take a little bit of time off to actually move, and I am trying my best to hold on to all of my money. So I'm trying not to spend very much of it, but I will need to continue to buy food. So if you want to help with that, shoot me a little dono. What are we looking at here? This is something with Tucker Carlson in it. I need my earbuds. Okay, what are we watching? What are you doing to me?
What? I don't care, man. Okay, just dude, you are the worst human being known to mankind. I want you to know that what you have done to this state, to the United States, to everything else in this world. I don't care that your daughter's here. What you have done to people's families, what you have done to everybody else in this world. Son, don't call me son. One. Please. What?
Oh my gosh.
I don't care, man.
Oh, wow. I don't think I had ever seen that before. That was really tense. Wow. That was a lot. I appreciate him just being like, you are the worst human being in the world and you have ruined families with your conservative rhetoric. Wow. Yeah, I had never seen that before. How old is that? Someone just reposted this like today, so I don't know when this was originally. Dude was like, call me son one more time. We're taking it outside. Like, it's really funny. Oh my gosh. It's a wonder he hadn't punched Carlson out when he touched him. Yeah, I know, Mersh. You would have taken that as justified cause for retaliation. Like, somebody puts their hand on you and you just like grab their hand and like twist it and like, ah! You know, Giga Chad. Oh boy, that was really funny. Yeah. You're like, oh, you put your hands on me? This is an opportunity to lay you out. That sounds like what I'm going to do right now. Oh boy, howdy. What was the other thing that I had to talk about today? My voice is really, really, really tired. I actually don't think I have the energy to do the other thing that I was going to do today. I was really like, I'm not going to try to hang out for very long at the beginning of stream today. Maybe we can hang out for a short while after stream, because right now this might be like only like an hour and a half long stream, if I even make it to the next 15 minutes, because I would like to stop talking now. It's good to be here and like represent though, because I am again about to move, and that's going to be really exciting. It's been delayed slightly, so but I'm still going to have to take time off next week for sure. I'm probably not going to stream at all next week, because better not to overstress your voice. It is my job to talk. So I really and I might grow to be actually ill. Like, my partner's been coughing and shit, so if I am going to be coughing and shit for the next 2 days, then I might have to take off stream this week as well. Tucker is like the dad from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I don't think I've seen that, at least not in a long, long time. That was about a year ago, maybe that clip was. Okay. I'm not fond of the changes in my body from menopause. I know it's not the same, but I understand it. Well, the thing is, Dark Canuck, I think it is the same. Like, if you're a woman and you start growing facial hair and, you know, you're bloated all the time and your body fat is distributing in a different way. Coughing stream later this week. You just watch videos and cough. True. It's like one step up from the Hassan Abi, like just leaving the stream to go cook and leaving some video. Like, I'm just not going to speak. We're just going to watch the video silently together, except for my coughing. But yeah, like I think, I mean, like fundamentally what you're experiencing as a person going through menopause is gender dysphoria. Like it is functionally the same thing. I don't know why we would consider it a different thing just because one person's gender dysphoria is incongruent with the sex that they were assigned, and one person's gender dysphoria is congruent with the sex that they were assigned. Peppo Comfy frozen. Oh no, silent stream true. That Tucker Carlson video had some vibes. Claude says, not trans, I'm a lesbian, but even I'm terrified of not being, quote, fully seen as a woman because of my lack of attraction to men. I feel as if I'm not feminine enough compared to my straight counterparts, despite the fact that I am femme. I do think that being gay or being lesbian also are things that people use as like, that's a point against you. Like, if you're gay, you know, you lose your man card, so to speak. Or if you're a lesbian, you know, you're presumed to be more masculine, like butch. Oh, like, oh, you're a lesbian. Oh, you know, you must be ready to, you know, take charge in the boardroom or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like I think it has to do a lot with like sexual behavior being, people considering that sort of reflective of your personality. Like back when we had that conversation about Ethan Klein joking about bottoms, you know? Well, if you're both lesbians, then you can't both be taking charge in the bedroom, Jimsy. I was like and I think the reason why I also made that evocation to the boardroom is like, I'm thinking of like, sometimes even heterosexual women who just take charge and take control in professional situations are called lesbians or are called men, like Hillary Clinton. Like people call women who don't behave lesbians because like that it's like, oh, you must be whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah, and you can be trans and a lesbian. It's also worth noting that. Tucker is a suburban Griswold coming out to the sticks and getting BTFO'd by one of the locals. True. Lesbian, you must wear flannel like a lumberjack. Right, like I think that there is go back and watch some 90s movies. There's like a lot of lesbian stereotyping in the 90s movies where like a straight girl is being bullied and called a lesbian because, I mean, like not even 90s, like that is also, it happened all the way up through Mean Girls where people were saying, you know, oh, the goth character she's such a lesbian. And then she's like, I'm really literally not even a lesbian, but like, whatever. I watched The Faculty with my partner this weekend, and it was like the same deal where there actually was some slightly lesbian energy to a moment, but then it's like, oh yeah, then the character gets explicitly called a lesbian, and I was like, oh, confirmed? And then it's like, no, she's not even a lesbian, she's just being bullied. Movie lore. True. I mean, it like reflects cultural attitudes, you know? I've got a ton of transbian friends. I think like the overwhelming majority of trans women that I know are also lesbians, or they're queer and they are primarily about women, you know? Menopause was just an increase of my gender dysphoria. Started low dose T and it's so much better. That's interesting. Brandy, are you saying that you experienced menopause as like a feminizing experience? That's quite fascinating. I guess it would have felt like you have a drop in hormones, so you end up with like relatively low levels of estrogen and testosterone, which I assume could probably make you feel like shit in general, because you need some amount of sex hormones in order to function, generally speaking. 75 concurrent viewers and over 100 likes right now. Holy shit. I appreciate you all hanging out. We did go in deep covering the UK says no to trans kids getting haircuts thing. We're past it now. If you can afford it this week with rent being due, consider dropping me $1 on Patreon. That would be great. It was more of a lessening of any sexual functionality. I mean, yeah, having low hormones will for sure do that to you. Unfortunately, society. She was Lebanese. Was she? She was actually, like, she was non-white. Like, she was literally Lebanese. It's true. It gets confusing for any trans people from the island of Lesbos. Hello. Welcome back, Halfling Rogue. Hello. Take another drink of water here. At this point, we're just chilling and hanging out. I was going to cover... We were going to look over the Wikipedia article on the Nazi views of homosexuality and specifically review some of the history of persecution because it's reflective of what the conservatives are doing right now in our present world. And I just want the resource to be out there, I guess, because I want people to be able to point out to their families, like, hey, if you really believe this, like, I'm preparing you for the winter holiday. If you go into the winter holiday thinking, oh, my transphobic parents are going to make groomer jokes and shit like that, be prepared to be like, hey, did you know that the literal Nazis said the same shit? And then they killed a bunch of people, like a bunch of gay and trans people. It's important to know history because it repeats itself. Yes, thank you. Perimenopause can do a number on your hormones. I started that quite early and it made me have a permanent period. So glad I am on T now. Holy fucking shit. It doesn't sound good. I just put a pin I have with regards to trans lesbians in the Discord memes channel. Well, let's look at it really quick. Let's take a quick lookity look. If you are not a member of my Discord server, you should check out the link either in the description if you're on YouTube or if you're on my website, luxander.net. There's a link up top in the header. I want this to be a more active space, and I'm working on being more active in here. Oh, this is cute. This is so cute. Trans plus lesbian equals très bien. No, it's très bien. It's trans plus lesbian equals very good. That's what that says. Très bien. I appreciate that. Super cute. Love it. I have such a vast appreciation. Oh, what was that? What happened? Oh, wow. Perry the Platypus, thank you so much. That was very shocking to me. Just got a job after being out of work for 8 months. Feels so good, and I'm so proud of myself for recovering from mental health struggles that prevented me from getting a job. Congratulations on getting a job after being out of work. Like, a gap on your resume like that is certainly not an easy thing to overcome. And I'm proud of you too. I'm glad you're proud of yourself. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. But I don't want to get into I was saying I want to cover the Nazi views on homosexuality on Thursday if we're feeling well enough to get that done, because I do still think it's an important topic. I just don't have the voice for it tonight. And that's so cute. The pin, not the hot flashes. True. True, Brandy. Brandy says, as I was going into menopause, I had already been considering going on T for other reasons, mostly muscle density and bone density. Physique masculinization was a goal. Right. Oh my gosh. One thing that I'm really excited about as I'm going to move into my new apartment, which is going to happen next week, I am going to set up a designated... Do you all know CGP Grey? We might have to take a CGP Grey pause for a second here, because Grey has this video... he has a lot of really clear, insightful, like, very good content. CGP Grey. And early on in the pandemic, he posted this video called Spaceship You. Now, it's like 10 minutes long. And I actually don't know if CGP Grey is one of those people whose content is, like, content ID'd on YouTube. I kind of would assume, because he's a real stickler for freebooting. If you've never heard of freebooting, that's the official term for what people make fun of Hassan for doing. When he like puts on someone's video and then he leaves to go cook himself dinner and then comes back to start talking to chat again. That's freebooting in the sense that you're just stealing someone's content, like basically, or re-uploading their content or whatever, not encouraging people to go seek out the original content. Like, this is the reason why fair use is like a thing, is like you have to be transforming the work in order to recreate, in order to like show parts of it. You have to be critiquing it in a specific way. Otherwise you're just taking away the original audience, or if you post like a video and it has some animation in it like Gray's videos does, and then someone else like takes like 3 or 4 GIFs from your video and distills that down into an article so people can get the whole idea of what your video is about from just reading an article. They don't have to click through to your video. It's not like when I'm talking about someone's content and I say, you should really go watch this other thing to get more information, to get an elaboration or whatever. You're like stealing the audience. That's called freebooting. I just like looking at Hassan. I don't really think Hassan is all that hot. Like, I mean, no shade or anything, but like, it just doesn't really do anything for me. Anyway, Spaceship U, the reason why I liked this video so much, and we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I found it really helpful in thinking about how to arrange my new space and stuff. Like, Gray really hammers home that you need to have separation. So even right now, I'm doing a better job of separation. Like, when I'm playing Pokemon, I have Pokemon Scarlet. When I play Pokemon Scarlet, I don't sit here and play it. I go to the couch and play it on the couch because I'm trying to create a separation between the different areas of the pod. Like, you have like a specific exercise zone. You keep the edges of the exercise zone sacred. No other activities happen in that zone. No other clutter happens in that zone. Exercise is a laid out area, and like work is a laid out area. Sleep is a laid out area. Do not sit on your phone in your bed. Don't watch television in your bed. Don't play video games in your bed. It's not a place for you to relax. Relaxation zone happens somewhere else. Like, where is relaxation zone? I'm freebooting right now. Yeah, relaxation zone is like its own specific couch area or whatever. But that's the point, is you have to create like solid spaces. JXE did the big call out on Hassan for it. Fair use has to be transformative. Yeah. I got Violet. It's interesting. I think that most of the people that I know got Scarlet. Every time I see someone pop on while I'm on my Switch, it's like, this person's playing Pokemon Scarlet. Like, I don't think anyone I know has Pokemon Violet except for my partner. I fall asleep every night with the TV on. I blame that on living alone for so long. If it's like white noise, because I listen to an audiobook every night when I go to sleep, but I'm not like trying to pay attention to it. You know, it's one that I've heard a number of times and I don't need to pay attention to it, right? I got a shiny Flittle and Teddiursa in Pokemon Scarlet. It's, I have not ever been a shiny hunter, and it's apparently even less obvious in this game than it has been in other games. That video wasn't advice for Headspace. I mean, I imagine it would be helpful, Numenal. I don't know that you have any exercise that needs to occur within Headspace, but broadly speaking, I think that conceptually, that would probably be helpful. I remember people saying to not work on homework or work while on your bed. Yeah, I mean, technically it's like bad that I wake up in the morning and like before I get out of bed, I'm fucking around on Twitter until my brain feels like I can get out of bed. Like, that's kind of how I start most of my days, is like I check Facebook, I check Twitter, and I just lay there for like an hour and then I get up. And like during that time, it's not useless time, because a lot of that time I'm like, okay, did anything happen last night? What's the news this morning? I retweet a couple things so that I can keep track of the links for later. But I'm like working in bed in the morning, and I shouldn't be. In my opinion, it's especially important to have that space be sacred at night, in the evening. so that your brain has a very clear, like when we go into the bedroom in the evening or at night, it is time to sleep. Koraidon reminds me of Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. I like that comparison. Yeah, he's a cutie. My character in Violet is my new trans goal. My character is such a fag. Like, he's got, like, I don't know, he's just funny. It's funny how much shorter he is than Nimona to me. I get YouTube paranormal and strange story videos that I fall asleep to. I don't really listen to them. I find someone with a good and relaxing voice and fall asleep. That is acceptable television. I'm partially blind. You have a great voice. My voice hurts so much today. I mean, it's not like horrible. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking still, but I do need to probably call it soon. I was honestly sad about the uniforms being so limiting in Scarlet and Violet. I found it interesting that there are no skirts. I think that it's kind of cool, actually. Even though it kind of limits your options, I do kind of think it's cool, the idea of a school uniform not having skirts, like that they're all pants and shorts. I just feel like it's more appropriate. You can change clothes. There's just not a lot of options. But you press the left direction button on your left hand in order to open that menu. Yeah, if there was a better variety of clothing, that would definitely be good. I go to sleep to the soothing voice of Bobcat Goldthwait. I don't know who that is, but it sounds great. How late in life should someone kiss or hold hands? I mean, there's some people who just don't want to do it ever. I respect that. Like if you died and you've never held hands, respect for your commitment to your aromantic lifestyle. The lack of skirts feels varied. The masculine option is neutral, which isn't the most fun. I mean, yes, I can see that. My position on this is that it's a school children's uniform, and it always, don't you think it was always weird for the girls to be wearing skirts, like, and they're always short skirts, like, I mean yes, in rare cases the skirts will be like more kilt, like knee length or whatever, but like and part of your job as a student in the Pokemon world is to go out in the world and hike all the time, so it kind of seems like having skirts as an option even would be really highly impractical and like oddly sexualized. Like it seems like it's kind of inherently always been sort of sexualized that school girls are made to wear those skirts. Curse says, I wish I could participate more in the chat. It's kind of hard while I'm working though. First actual snow today in Metro Vancouver. Wish me luck getting home. Honestly, good luck getting home. Be safe. If you're in Metro Vancouver, do you use public transit? At least in that case, you don't have to worry about like you getting in a car accident or anything. But I understand your impulse to want to hang out and chat. Like, this is why I don't watch live streams very often, is because I can't stop like I'll be like, oh, Vosh is talking about this, I would love to listen to him talk about it, but in order for me to like, ideally what I'm hoping for is something in the background that I can just listen to. But what ends up happening is I get my little earbud and I put my earbud in and I pull up the stream on YouTube, and then separately on my computer I pull up the stream on vosh.gg on my computer, and then I mute it on my computer, and then I'll be like doing dishes or something in the other part of the house, and then like Vosh will say something that I feel like I need to respond to this, and I'll like rush over to my computer and like type out a response and then go back to like dishes or whatever else I was doing. Yeah, exactly, with Otro. Like literally I'm like and I've done that like listening to Demon Mama stream before and listening to Vash's stream before. Like, this is why I don't watch streams, is because it's a constant interactive experience. Like, oh, I just find it very, it's not what I want to do in my free time, you know? That's not like relaxation time to me. Very occasionally, but yeah, lately I've been like watching movies and stuff more, and I appreciate that. I drove today. Good luck and Godspeed, Curse. The worst thing about driving in the first snow of the year is that everyone around you has like amnesia and forgot how to fucking drive in the snow somehow over the past 9 months, you know? I do the same thing, except I have my iPad on the counter and end up getting dish soap all over it. I'll like really quick, I'm like, I'm gonna dry my hands off and run back to my computer. A better option would be for everyone to have both options for the pants and the skirts. I can see that argument. I can also see why they didn't include skirts. And I kind of like that there's no skirt option because, again, I'm just like, I mean, they have like the 360 camera. I mean, yeah, you have the camera that can move around a bunch. What's to stop people from taking screenshots of like upskirts, you know? Hey, don't know who my, oh, whoa, that's an entire mood. I struggle to keep streams on in the background and not get distracted. I'm getting better, but I have grabbed my mouse way too many times before my hands were actually able to. Popcorn is amazing, but greasy. True. You're just like, oh, I need to say something real quick. And like, fuck, like, oh, my shit is so greasy now. I've been reading a lot more again lately, but I still end up doing that same thing you're talking about because I'll listen to the audiobook and half read along, and then inevitably something I want to highlight comes when I've stepped away to piss. You'll be like listening to the audiobook and have the text actually open. Streams are a good experience on a roughly tri-weekly basis. Dunno where I'm getting that number. Yeah, I don't know. Streams are really great on a tri-weekly basis. I feel like 3 streams a week is like the perfect number of streams to go hang out at. I don't know why you would think that at all. Like, why? Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, in fact, seem like the perfect days to hang out on stream. Oh, good grief. I can't even single task. It's tough. It's tough. Single tasking is a whole deal too. All right, drink a little bit of water. The water is almost gone. Why is the rum gone? Why is the rum always gone? I can join Sunday then for the whole stream. On Sunday, we stream at noon Central Time so that our European friends can join. I have a hard time reading without also listening along, kind of like how I can't watch TV without subtitles, but I also can't watch subbed anime. Like, I need to both see and hear it, I guess. ADHD hellbrain. Oh god. Ultraman pose. Yeah, I don't know. That was kind of a dab, but like an upright dab. I don't know what I was trying to do. That giant lemon looks so good. It's actually 2 pieces of lemon. It's just 2 pieces of lemon. But they're yummy. Yes. Okay. So here's the thing, everybody. There's 11-1 likes on the video. I love that, and I also love saying 11-1 because it's perfect. I am in a painful voice time. My partner has been sick, and now I am getting slight sickness. So in order to save myself from a potential major sore throat later, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. A little bit of a short stream. I appreciate you hanging out. I hope that you had a good time. And I am planning to see you all again on Thursday. If something changes, I'm sure I'll let you know in the Discord, which is still the best way to get notifications for when I'm streaming and updates on streaming and stuff like that. So you're all great. I appreciate you. And I will be seeing you hopefully on Thursday. Fingers crossed. Take care of yourselves.